Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
We have gathered here today to pay our respect and tribute to our beloved Captain H. Subramaniam. The Company of Masterminds of India, along with the family of Captain Subramaniam, is here to speak about him and pay our tribute. Before we start, I will request our master CMMI, Captain B.K. Jha, to start the proceedings and share his message. Captain B.K. Jha, Master CMMI.
Thank you, Captain Basin. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
We can hear you now.
You're loud and clear.
Yes, we can.
All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today is a very sad day. It saddens me that today we have gathered to pay our homage to one of the precious gems of maritime industry, Captain Subramaniam sir, passed away on 29 June 2020. I think era is over. One era has gone. Captain Subramaniam sir was an excellent leader, an exceptional teacher, and a true gentleman. He was also the master of CMMI from 2001 to 2003. And he kept guiding us. Even in the last election, he was the election commissioner of the CMMI, and he did so dutifully. I'm sure he had enlightened and enriched many of your lives with his sheer guiding force and kind heart. He always had a smile on his face. He could effortlessly brighten a room with his jovial nature the moment he entered. Captain Subramaniam sir would never miss an opportunity to impart knowledge to his students. He would promptly take up any additional substitute lecture invariable on the subject. Such was the expanse of his knowledge that any day, any subject, and he had something new to teach us. A true educator for not just chapters on maritime, but also on life. I was fortunate to have him as a teacher when I joined shipping industry, that is right from the second mate to the extra master. Since then till today, this learning experience has not stopped. He continues to inspire me, and I'm sure inspiring many of you too, even after his demise. His legacy will stay with his multiple contribution to the maritime world through his books, courses, and generations of seafarers who have trained under him. In this hard time, we stand by Captain Subramaniam sir's family, his wife, his daughter, and son. It pains me to even imagine their grief. Rest assured that the maritime industry will not forget this legend. He may not be among us today, but his knowledge and his vision will remain alive forever. There is a slok in Gita when the Lord Krishna is teaching to Arjun, and he says, Nayanam chindanti sastrani, nayanam dati pavaka, nachayanam klesh deyanti apo, nashoshati maruta. The soul can never die. It will always remain alive. Neither fire, nor wind, nor anything can kill. So he is still here with us. I firmly believe. Please join me in praying for his soul by saluting his contribution for seafarers. You will always be remembered with a smile and great pride, sir. Thank you. Basin, you can take over.
Thank you, Captain Jha, sir. I will hand over the proceedings to the Captain Subramaniam's family. I will request his son, Captain Hari, to please come and along with his family members who will be speaking on this ceremony. Captain Hari, please. Captain Hari, you are mute. Captain Hari.
Thank you. Yeah, I fall prey to my own habits. Sorry. Thank you, Captain Jha and Captain Basin. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And I would say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Thank you so much for taking time to make today a memorable tribute. I mean, I can still see people pouring in, and it is very emotional to me and the family because it's been a very sorrowful few days. I think Dad had that kind of personality which was so, if I may use the term, explosive, that when it's quiet now, it is a deafening silence. Had he been a quieter person, then probably it was something we would have been, I don't know, easier to accept. I don't think so, but nevertheless. In the last 10 days, the support and help has been tremendous from all quarters. Situations like this remind us of who our well-wishers are. You know, they teach us lessons in hard way. Life teaches lessons in hard way. And it also pulls the veils of those so-called well-wishers who take a few steps backwards. As much as anyone would think in this situation that it's nice to wallow in the limelight of being Subra's son, all I can say is that I'd love to have my dad back at any cost. And there is no question that mourning his loss, sorry, he wouldn't like me to say mourning his loss, celebrating his wonderful life is paramount for me and our close family members. Today, I'm not going to dwell on talking about Dad. In the last 10 days, I have been taught much more than the industry that he's been a larger than life figure, so much more than what we thought we knew him. My sole objective today is to thank a few people who really made a difference in the past few weeks since my dad was ill. So please bear with me whilst we would all try to keep our speech to 2 to 3 minutes. I would probably steal the privilege of a slightly longer few minutes because I'd like to thank a lot of people. This is not in chronological order, so please do not send me to the gallows in case you all come in number 2 or 3 rather than 1, but it all counts. Firstly, I want to thank my mother, Mrs. Prema Subramaniam, for the amazing support she has been to all of us, to Dad and the family. She has kept us together. She is still, unfortunately, not fully come to terms with his departure. I mean, none of us are. And she has sent me here today to speak on her behalf. So I'm speaking as the son of Prema Subramaniam today. And, please accept her pranams as well. Going down the names, I would like to first thank Captain Rajesh Unni, Captain Swaminathan, Captain Anshul Rajvansh of Synergy Shipping. It's a personal thanks that they probably facilitated my arriving into India when I could, which was about 24 hours before my father decided to sail forever. Captain Pankaj Segar, my batchmate, Captain Ajay Achudan, Captain M.P. Basin, Captain Saggi, they raised the rallying cry, and they started the movement for garnering support so that I could escape, or would say I would get able to get permission to get out of my quarantine, which I'm serving now, to actually cremate my father. Special thanks to Dr. Malini Shankar. She's been amazing. It's the essence of any son to have the privilege of attending to his father's last rites. And ma'am, she's made this possible for me. God bless her always. She's not here today, but I would have liked to personally pay this tribute to her. I would like to thank the company of Master Mariners for arranging this session of this magnitude. It's immense. Captain Basin, thank you. I mean, amongst all the pressure you've been having of, managing crew changes and all that, you finally found one seat on that flight for me to do this for the industry. And thank you, Captain Shashi Kumar, also, who's been quite perseverant in chasing me down because I've been all over the place. So thank you for facilitating this. A special thanks to Mrs. Rewari, Naomi and ARI for facilitating this event as well. I mean, they've provided this platform of Zoom and they've just shown the Rewaris have always been close family of the Subramaniams ever since those days. And they have walked the talk. If I joke, I'm sorry. This is not out of grief. This is out of pride for the family, the extended family and my father, so please bear with me. I would like to thank all the delegates who have come today. They are all very special. Dad has had a very close working relation with each and every one of them. And I thank you all from the bottom of the heart for making his life lovely. He had such lovely things to say about each and every one of you, and also to come and give us support in this hour of need. I would also like to thank some family members, which is important. They're going to give me this dirty look saying it's not required, it's family. But it matters for my mom and me. Special thanks to my wife Janani, who's been a good support. I mean, when I told her I'm going to Singapore, I don't know when I'll be back. It may be a couple of months. She said, just go. You know, that's what you're here. You're the son. You need to go. And I could go. Had she had another stand, then I don't think it would have been very easy. So thank you, Jan. Special thanks to my brother-in-law, Captain Viswanathan, and my sister Uma. My brother-in-law also was instrumental in allowing me to come into the city. But most important, I think both of them were on the ground to be my eyes, ears, and soul in being with Dad for his last conscious moments before they got him to the hospital. They had to beat pillar and post trying to get with COVID. It's not easy to get into any hospital. Everybody has a lot of alibis. You could go online and see a lot of vacancies, but when you go knocking on the doors, then obviously there's a different story altogether. They've been walking around with poor Dad literally all over the town for a few hours before finally they managed to get him in. I was here. They took charge of all the hospital matters. Of course, they had a lot of support from the family, and I'm coming to that. But finally, they put their own health in front of them, and actually, they have been amazing. I still remember my brother-in-law waiting close to 10 o'clock or midnight, you know, outside the suppliers, distributors. Suddenly, the doctor comes that he needs a medicine called Toxilujam. I can't even spell it. And he's already gone out. He's waiting on the streets there to buy it, you know, like, and it takes hours. There's queues. It's a mad rush, but he kind of procures it. These things I don't usually say, but Raja, as we fondly called him, Anaka, thank you. I would like to thank my brother, Captain Harihar Prasad. Yes, Captain Subra has two sons. I'm the younger one. And my wonderful Babi Suchitra. And also my sister Meera, my cousin sister Meera. Not to forget my cousins Maya and Bala, my brother-in-law and his wife as well, Prem and Archana. They've rallied support and it's been immense. I mean, hospitals, medicines, any type of resources, they've been there, you know. And even when I've been grieving, it's not easy to grieve in quarantine. You can feel these walls close upon me. But they have made sure that they've been with me. Literally every few hours, I've been getting phone calls, and it means so much. Not that each one of y'all have been calling me, but it's equally important. Thank you. I've reserved a special thanks for the youngest in our cousins group, Captain Harishankar, Krishnamoorthy, and his amazing wife Lakshmi. I mean, they've done all the legwork. They have literally risen to the occasion, and the amount of responsibility and maturity they have shown in this, in supporting the entire ground movement in Dad's expedition to go to hospital and his passing, have been great. So thank you, chaps. It's great. Again, if I've missed anyone on my list, my sincere apologies. Please feel free to berate me even on this chat. Right now, after what I've been through, what doesn't kill you make you stronger. So Dad has made us like this. But nevertheless, you should realize if you all are doing anything, it's for Dad and Dad only. And he's over here with us. He'll always be with us. He's watching. He knows, and you'll get his blessings. Thank you very much for bearing for my extremely long speech. But I have to leave the floor for my other family members. I would like to now invite my brother-in-law, Captain Viswanathan, who we fondly know as Raja, and my sister Uma to say a few words for Dad.
Good day to all of you. And I would like to first thank you all for taking the time to come and be a part of our prayer for Dad. As a daughter, a father plays a very important role. He's a role model. And I think my father did more than justice to that. He has been a visionary and led us all. He was enthusiastic and totally full of zest, and he was adventurous. And I think I have learned a lot, and I'm sure that he'll continue to guide me in all my endeavors in life. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to say this.
Good afternoon to all of you. thank you for being here for this meeting. And I am not a very good speaker, but I would like to put in a few words. I would really, he was, Captain Subramaniam was always, more than anything, a guru to me. He was always my teacher, and he will remain he will be a guru to me always. He always said that he never he never thought of me as a son-in-law, but always he was like he always said he was I'm a son who was here. So I really appreciate the way he used to few very nice memories I have about him. He had a lot of energy in him, and he always liked to drive. He always liked to travel a lot. And me also, I shared the same kind of interest. So we had done a few trips together, and we really enjoyed it. And one of the very good trips what we did was right from North Sea, driving from Hamburg all the way to Rome in Italy, and in one shot, in one this thing. And I still remember so many things we did together on the way, and he was so adventurous and so enthused about the whole trip that we really enjoyed that particular trip. And he was always there to help people, and he always helped me also, and I remain indebted to him. Yeah, in this life, I think I'll remain always indebted to him. Thank you very much, and I hand over to the next person.
Yep. Thank you, Raja and Akka. In next, I think, although he's listed in the industry stalwarts, Captain Vanchiswar called me personally and gave me a firing saying that I'm family first. And then he insisted that he wants to speak with a family contingent. So we are very touched upon that. I think he needs no introduction over here, although I think they're trying to sort out his audio. I am not so sure if his audio has been sorted. Uncle, Vanchiswar uncle, can you hear me? Can we hear you? I think apparently not. I think they're trying to sort out his audio. But in the meantime, I would like to invite Captain Subramaniam's younger brother. Don't get startled. He's like a carbon copy of him. Captain Subramaniam's younger brother, Mr. H.P. Prasad is here. They've been extremely close. Literally, I mean, I can't tell you how close they've been. Probably the closest in the whole lot has been both of them. So I'd like to invite him and his daughter and my cousin Meera from Dubai to please say a few words. Chitapa, you're muted. Can you please unmute yourself?
Mic is mute.
Okay. Just one second. Okay, now?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay. Well, in this August shipping crowd, it's my pleasure to hear so much about my brother. But I tell you one thing. I have one thing which none of you had with him. I'm his younger brother. I'm 76, he was 78. So I've been knowing him for about 74, 75 years, 73 years. My guide, counselor, well-wisher. I miss him terribly. And I learned the correct values. And when I see how the world appreciates him, it makes me feel we have not lived in vain. Thank you. Where is my...
Yeah, I'm here. Good afternoon. My uncle, Captain Subramaniam, has always been a person I have looked up to. It has been overwhelming to see all the messages poured in from the shipping industry. He is a true captain in every sense. He was a wonderful human being, very principled and loving. Words cannot express the void created in our family by your passing. He has definitely imbibed his values in all of us. A beautiful human being, a person who lived life as an example. I'm proud and privileged to call him my uncle. a gentle soul and a true legend. You are and always will be an integral part of our family. I hope we children continue to follow your path. Love you very much. I will miss you terribly. Your moon-faced niece.
Thank you, Meera. I would now like to call my brother, my cousin, Captain Harihar Prasad, and my Babi Suchitra from Dubai. He's the elder son, like I said, of Captain Subramaniam. So please, Harihar, can you please share something with us?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. A day that from my childhood I dreaded is here. We are called upon for a memorial service for Captain H. Subramaniam. A lot has been said about him across various social media, magnifying his professional life. I am privileged to have been related to him. For me, he was my Periappa, which literally translated means big father. And that's what he was to me and much more. I want to delve into a few personal aspects of his life and how they left inedible impressions on me. Yes, I said inedible, typical in Captain H's style, where he would sneak in something really funny and say, I said that to see if you're awake. I owe my career to him. I spent a lot of time in his house, and in that process, I learned how it is to be fair and impartial in life. I felt as much as a child to him as my own cousins. He was there for us as a family and me personally in every aspect of my life, be it up or down. I remember when my father was to have a brain surgery in 2004. I called up Captain HS and I told him what the situation was. He arrived the next day, and such was his greatness. He just came into the hospital and told me, "You are the captain here. I'm only here to give you moral support and support my brother. Whatever you want of me, I will do." Such was his disarming nature. He was the ultimate brother to his siblings, always there for them, regardless of any small squabbles that any families will have. He used to tell me, I have to do what is right, and I have to be there with him. He was the most professional man I know in his personal life, a man who shaved every day, regardless of whether it was a weekday or a Sunday. He always dressed smartly, and even if a family member was coming, he would change into his trousers and collared shirt. I remember once him telling me when I was going out to get my command, he said, "Don't forget the story. There are 4 people standing on the deck of a ship waiting to go ashore. The ship agent walks up to one man and says, 'Hello, Captain, how are you?' He said, 'You must dress and carry yourself in such a way that there is no doubt who the captain is.' His zest and positivity was infectious. Even when bogged down by any small ailment, he would always tell me, 'I am grateful that I have it than no one else in the family, because I have the strength to withstand it.' I learned from him to respect your elders. His devotion to my grandma is well known. In fact, he quit sailing just to be with her so that she didn't have to be alone. I have been ashore close to 20 years now, and I'm honest to say it shudders me to think if I had to go back on a ship as master. And my uncle went back after almost 30 years of quitting sailing and took command on a ship in the same port. He had guts and supreme confidence in his capability, power of the Almighty. He was an example of how a husband should be, and he managed so well between his duties as a son and husband, keeping everyone happy. My uncle and aunt were the ideal couple. In fact, I have watched with great admiration over the years how, from walking a step in front, over the last couple of years, my uncle took one step back and held on to my aunt's hand when they had to go out. They both have aged so gracefully. He was lucky to have a wife who understood his dynamism, his zeal, and his powerful personality. Last but not the least was his humility, in spite of all that he achieved. He always told me that all it needs is for one incident to bring everything falling down. Be humble, pray, and treat people fairly. You will enter rough weather, but only if you hold on to your integrity will you reach the other side. As a family, we are totally indebted to the maritime industry and to all the mariners worldwide for the overflowing support and condolences. It is said, truly great and noble men are never born, nor do they pass away. They only spend a few years on this planet so that the people around them can imbibe their greatness. I am truly honored, proud, and privileged to have known one such legend from close quarters. Till we meet again, Peripa, I love you, and you will always be the person I looked up to, wanted to be liked and adored. Thank you.
Thank you, Harihar. And I'm very conscious that we've got very little time to speak before our illustrious guests are waiting. I would like to quickly call upon my cousin, Captain V.S. Kartik, Captain Subramaniam's nephew, to say a few words. Anna, can you please grace?
Thank you, Hari. It is indeed a very daunting task for me to present my thoughts about my uncle. Like for all of us, he was father figure, mentor, guide, philosopher, and an absolute role model. Instead of eulogizing about him, I would rather this be a celebration of what he was for all of us, mainly for me. It is very difficult not to be infected or influenced by Captain Subramaniam, my uncle's joy de vivre. His energy, his exuberance would take anybody in his proximity like a tidal wave. And with all that positivity that was emanating out of him, all the worldly woes would look like a little trifling piffle. And one could feel the energy, positivity coursing through you once again, because just by his presence, his amazing intellect, tremendous cerebral retentivity, his mental ability to recall just spontaneously, and his zealous energy, with these he catered to all those aspirants who reached out to him. So many of them reached out to him. And he would, with enduring empathy, try to fulfill the needs of each and every one of them, going well out of his way quite often to do this. He had a very simplistic outlook, very disarming candor, which is why in public places or public gatherings, personal family gatherings, he was always the cynosure. Elders found him to be reverent, respectful, reliable. Peers found him to be sincere and comradely. But the most important thing is, in spite of his towering achievements and his wonderful personality, he would be able to easily reach out to youngsters and make them feel at ease. This was a very special quality. I mean, his way of dealing with youngsters, it was almost spontaneous. Not many would actually know this, other than, of course, the immediate family, that in addition to his brilliance as a trainer or as a professional, he was also extremely good with his hands. He was a very, very proficient carpenter and very good with his tools. He had a very large collection and he was expert in using all of them. I was lucky to be his assistant in many of these projects that he used to undertake as his assistant when he was using these tools and going about tasks around the house. And it was then that he gave me one of his first teachings. He said, before you can become a leader, try to be an excellent assistant. Only when you're an excellent assistant will you learn how to be a leader. I'm very, very grateful to him for those words, because I have always tried to be the most loyal, reliable, and resourceful subordinate to my elders, seniors, and superiors ever since. Lastly, I would like to remember when I had finished qualifying and with my second mates, and I was about to join my first ship as an officer. Uncle took me aside and told me, Kartik, remember, more important than how you behave in the presence of seniors or colleagues is how you think, act, and perform when there is no one watching over you. Thank you, Uncle. I took that to my heart. And since then, I have never ever had to be supervised in my life, either professionally or personally. To my dearest uncle, I would like to say, I rejoice your presence amongst us. I rejoice my good fortune to receive your fatherly love and attention. I rejoice my formative years in your watchful and benign care. I rejoice your influence in shaping my values and my character. I rejoice your continued presence in my heart and in my thoughts. In my thoughts, you will always reign. Aye, sir, till we meet again.
Right. Thank you, Kartik Anna. Very nice. I would now like to call my cousins from London, Maya and Bala. They were very instrumental when Dad was in hospital, and we were getting a lot of things done as well. Very close family. So can I please ask Bala and Maya to just say something about Dad?
Thank you, Hari. And thank you to the organizers for arranging this remembrance meet to celebrate the life of my beloved uncle, Captain Subramaniam. In his style, I'm going to condense my speech to a nutshell. My uncle had a larger-than-life, inspiring personality with a heart of gold and a fantastic sense of humor. He dedicated his life to noble causes and treated everyone fairly with respect and dignity. While we grieve his passing, we are proud and glad that he was part of our family. I'm going to leave you with a quote by Andy Warhol, which I think is a fitting tribute for my uncle. The idea is to not live forever, but to create something that will. And that is exactly what my uncle did. He was a legend in the shipping world and a perfect human being. Thank you. Over to Bala.
Yep, Bala's doing me. Yeah. Okay.
Sorry. I grew up from London. I'm Maya's partner, and it's an honor to be asked to share a few words about Uncle. I was wondering whether I should call him Captain, but I remember him as Uncle. I met him for the first time over 23 years ago, and as soon as I became part of the family, I had a chance to spend a couple of days with him and his family in Mumbai, and an experience I still carry with me in my heart. The fact that he was a scholar in his field was very apparent, but what I learned quite quickly was that his field of knowledge was much wider, and his curiosity and interests were limitless. As an IT professional, I was amazed, and I'm talking about mid-late 90s, how much Uncle knew about the internet back in the day and what the possibilities were. But I would say his humanity was the greatest aspect. I've seen him come into a room filled with absolute strangers of different ages and age groups, and within minutes, you'll see him lighting up the room with laughter. I'm sure the word smiling face will be used a few times. It's already been used a couple of times in the call. But I do believe he was one of the few individuals whose smiling face matched a smiling heart. Uncle's life was well led and worthy of emulation at every level. And as a Hebrew proverb goes, say not in grief he is no more, but in thankfulness that he was. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Bala. To all our esteemed audience, thank you very much. Just one more set of cousins before I hand over to our illustrious list of speakers. Can I request my cousin, Captain Harishankar Krishnamoorthy, and his amazing wife, Lakshmi, to please say a few words about Dad?
Yeah, thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. Being the youngest master marine in the family, I'm privileged to be amongst you all only because of my uncle, Captain Subramaniam. I owe it all to him because he has been my motivator, inspiration, and the sole encouragement for me to join the Merchant Navy. His family used to visit us in Bangalore every Diwali, and during one such visit, he told my grandfather then that I should join the Merchant Navy and that he would help me prepare mentally for this career. So here I am so honored to have taken his advice and thank him immensely for having shaped up my future. I adore him for his principles, which he never compromised on, even though we had such close family ties. I remember once I casually told him I had my orals for one of my competencies. And all he said is, I will not influence anyone for orals, but I can assure you will go through with my blessing. He was so true in his conscience and values that nothing would make him stray from it, including close relationships. He was a great tutor and guru because if he explained and taught me anything, he would make it look so easy and it would make me feel as to how I could not understand such a simple thing. He was a true family man, and including my children would be so comfortable with him because he would get down to their level and entertain them. They would want to go to his place often only because they enjoyed his company. Words are inadequate to describe his abilities, and I could only sum it up by saying that he was a complete man as the way Raymonds would have portrayed him. Even on the night when Uncle had to be hospitalized, while moving in and out of almost 6 hospitals, He just kept saying one thing, I'm fine, let's go back home. Well, that speaks volumes of the strong personality that he was. Even now, it is hard to believe that he is not with us, but all I can do is to promise to try and live up to his ideals and accomplish everything to his level of perfection. This is my tribute to this legend who I owe everything. At last, in the words of William Shakespeare, his life was gentle and the elements so mixed in him that nature might stand up and say to the world, this was a man. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shankar. Much appreciated. Lakshmi, do you want
Kids
to
want to say
say?
something, Hari.
Yeah, say something. You used to love
They
them.
want to say something. Thank you.
Thanks, Lakshmi. I think Captain Vanchiswar's audio is now on. So the senior most master mariner in the family, as well as probably one of the senior most in this group as well. So Uncle, can I please invite you to say something about your very fond nephew? Uncle, you'll have to just unmute yourself.
No?
Yeah, loud and clear, Uncle.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, Captain Harry Subramaniam was my dear nephew, my elder sister's son. I cherish this relationship, and that is why I wish to speak from amongst the family. He had followed me into the seafaring profession, where the trainings have differed. However, he had used his own mind and eventual choice of the teacher profession and becoming an academic don was his own. I think this is also in his genes. His name Subramaniam was the name of his grandfather, also my father, who was a distinguished teacher for many years, the only Indian teacher in a totally British public school in Uttarakhand. Harry Subramaniam had excelled in his professional endeavors and thus done me proud as well. For the past 2 years, he was virtually a caring guardian for me. His sudden demise was indeed a jolt to my morale. I also miss him very much, more than what I ever thought. I share the immense sorrow of his loss with his dear wife Prema, dear children Uma and Hari, and other members of the family. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Uncle. And that sums it up. Can I please hand over to Captain Basin again? Captain Basin, now probably comes the best part, which everybody is logged in for, to hear what the doings of the industry have to say about Dad.
Thank you, Hari. It was very touching tribute from the family, the way the family members spoke and spoke about Captain Subramaniam and described their own feeling. It is very, very touching. Before I start, I just want to announce the audience that after the stalwart of the industry have spoken, the family has made a tribute to life, tribute to Captain Subramaniam, a PowerPoint presentation, which will be shown at the end of the thing after everybody has spoken. To start with, I just want to announce Dr. Malini Shankar has just joined in. She was in a meeting and she managed to join in. Ma'am, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there.
Ma'am, thank you,
Yeah.
ma'am. Dr. Malini Shankar, NSB chairman and ex-DG Shipping.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Think, this is not a happy webinar, if we can call this meeting. I think in the passing away of Captain Subramaniam, we have lost what I would call the Bhishma Pitamaha of maritime learning. And I don't say teaching or training, because rare is the human being these days exhibited a love for learning each day of his or her life. So it's not just teaching, it is learning every day and sharing the knowledge with everybody that he met. For him, as I saw it, teaching was not a job or a profession, but it was a calling. And for the benefit of the fraternity, it was perhaps a gift. His enthusiasm and connect with books and people, I'm sure, will remain eternal and continue to inspire us in our quest for knowledge and for perfection. May Almighty bless his family with love and good health, and may the family, as well as the maritime fraternity, find the courage to bear the loss, but also find the inspiration to carry forward his ideals and love for teaching. I am in a way very consoled. Thank you for the kind words, Captain Hari Subramaniam. Consoled that I could contribute something to mitigate the grief of the family in their difficult times. We live in very difficult times, and yes, the duties that a child would like to perform for the father is supreme in those times. And I always consider, if these things, assistance works out, I was a tool of God. So it was not my help. God willed it that way, and may that God and the goddesses bless all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Our next speaker is going to be our DG Shipping, Mr. Amitabh Kumar. He has sent me an email. He just had to go for a meeting. So I'm going to read out his eulogy. Words are not enough to pay tribute to great person like Captain S. Subramaniam. He was an icon, an educationist, an author, and above all, a mentor par excellence to the shipping industry. His contributions as Command of Training Ship Rajendra, then Command of Training Ship Chanakya, and Principal of the LBS College of Advanced Maritime Training and Research has shaped the training infrastructure in India. There are many other training establishments which have been mentored by Captain Subramaniam. He is recognized worldwide for his contributions toward maritime education, classification societies, and flag states. He has written many books which are so relevant and practical for mariners. He was so positive and lively person with great sense of humor and full of energy whenever we met. The Indian shipping industry mourns the passing away of one of its greatest sons. His legacy will remain forever in shipping industry and in our hearts. My sincere condolences to the bereaved family and our prayers for the departed soul. Amitabh Kumar, Director General of Shipping. Thank you. I will request now Mr. MP Pinto, Secretary Shipping. Mr. Pinto, sir.
Thank you, Captain. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Thank you. It's very difficult to talk about someone like Captain Subramaniam, someone who was a colleague, someone who was a legend in his own lifetime, a partner in many things, and above all, a friend. And I do not propose to tell you all about his career, because all of you are family and friends, admirers and well-wishers. So you know all about it. There's no need for me to talk about that. I thought instead that I would talk about some of the things that I knew about Captain Subramaniam. I did not have such a long acquaintanceship with him. I met him about 25 years ago, in 1996 to be exact, 24 years. And I remember many things about him, but above all, I remember the immense pride that he took in his work. He was the principal of the LBS college at that time. He finished with the other training institutes. He was principal of LBS. Every time I went there, it was such a pleasure, because it was so clear that here was a man for whom this was his very life. This was his work. And it came through in everything. His desire to improve things, his desire to see them get better,
He was instrumental in building that huge big hostel. We were able to secure the grants and he did it. But he did so many other things also there. It was always a pleasure to find someone who was so proud of what he did. And that is reflected, I think, in the number of his relatives, his son, his nephews, and others who have gone into the maritime world, into the merchant marine. That is the greatest compliment that they could pay to him, because they saw somebody who is worth imitating, someone who is worth following, and they went to him. It is a great thing. I listened with great interest to they're talking about their appa, their periappa, and so on and so forth. But if I cannot call him either appa or periappa, but if they will permit me to take the liberty, maybe I will call him Anna, if they will approve. I said that it was his pride in his work was reflected not only in what he did, but also in the number of people a number of members of his family who went into the same profession. But it is not that he was only this kind of determined person. He also had a lighter side. I remember when I went to the LBS on one of the occasions. At that time, you must remember, this was in 1996, a long time ago. Many of you would not quite follow this, but the simulator had just come. It was the newest thing. We were all very proud of it. There was a simulator. So Captain Subi took me and I said, you know, you must say it's like this, it's like that. And he was explaining to me how it helped the navigator, it helped the nautical man to walk through the seas, to bring a ship into the harbor, at shore. And then he brought it quite close to the shore. So I said, what happens if it bumps into the shore? I mean, you use this on your students. He said, yeah, I use it on my students. Then what if someone by accident bumps into the shore? And he said, you want to see it? I said, yes. So he just brought the ship right in, and at a great speed, he ran it aground. And the result was amazing. It was a huge sound of grating of iron and steel against hard rock and hard earth. And with that loud grating noise, all the lights went out. I was a bit shaken. I said, and then what happens after this? He said, what happens after this? Very simple. We pat that young man on the shoulder and say, you will never make a captain's son. But if you still want to go into the merchant marine, go down to the engine below and try there. That was his ability to see the lighter side of life. I also saw it in so many of his students who are all over the world, I think now, and who owe so much to him. But I must tell you, all of you who are students of his, that it's not that he taught only in the classroom. He taught outside. I am proud to call myself one of his students because he taught me so much about the merchant marine. He taught me so much about maritime affairs, which I would never have known, which I would never have understood if it hadn't been for the way he explained it. So I must say with pride that I too am a student of Captain Subramaniam. And I am proud to say that, proud that I can do that. He has done so many other things. He's been a person who's done courses for the IMO. The IMO commissioned him to do a whole number of courses. He has worked on the Maritime University. He has worked as a consultant to many foreign governments in their attempts to set up a good maritime administration. And when I think of the great influence he's had with so many people, I am truly humbled. You know, many years ago, there was a school, a kind of a convent school in a remote part of India. And they trained a number of very good young men and women who later on reached the top in many places. Sorry, it's the wrong time for this phone to take on. This was a school that turned out a number of very good people. And in that, there was an elderly nun, and she was lying in her room awaiting death because she was on her deathbed. And as she lay there, she was overcome by a terrible feeling of inadequacy and fear. She was going to meet her maker, but she didn't know what she would say to him. She felt her own role had been very nominal. She was the person who ran the kitchen. She cooked food for generations of students. She kept everything clean. She kept everything tip-top. But there were others who had taught economics, who had taught mathematics, and their students had gone very high in the world. They had become scientists, they had become administrators, they had reached the top of every field, and she had nothing. And as it became more and more clear that she was going to die, she became more nervous. And she said, what will I show to God when I go to him? And as the desperation in her mounted and became more and more, she suddenly seemed to hear a voice saying, sister, show him your hands. And she looked down at her hands. They were rough, they were calloused. The nails were broken, the skin had torn. Because for 40 years, she had been cooking and cleaning and cooking and cleaning. And that is how generations of students went through. And from those hands that were so rough, elevused and dirty, she saw a strange and beautiful light emerging, and she was immensely comforted. I wasn't present when Captain Subi passed away, and I don't think anyone was because he was alone in the hospital at that time. But I'm sure that when he passed away, we had the same experience. A strange light would have come from so many different parts of him. From his head, which led so many students to the right places. From his eyes that sparkled with love and affection. For his heart that opened to so many people. For the great difference that he has made to this world and to the people with whom he came in contact. It is normal at such occasions to say that we pray for the repose of the departed soul. And I do that. I do pray for the repose of the departed soul. But I have no doubt that he is at rest. My prayer is more especially for all those like me and all of you, his family, his friends, and admirers, who are left behind and who are so very much poorer for his passing. Thank you. Back to you, Captain Basin.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, Mr. Pinto, sir. I would request now Mr. Arun Sharma, Executive Chairman for the Indian Register of Shipping, to kindly give his tribute. Mr. Arun Sharma, sir.
Thank you, Captain Basin. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you, sir.
Thank you very much. Indeed, I think today is a extremely solemn occasion. A couple of days back, when we heard about the passing away of dear Captain Subramaniam, it was indeed a very saddening moment for not only me, but all of us at the Indian Register of Shipping. My association or my meeting Captain Subramaniam goes back when he was principal of the LBS college. And meeting him in those days, I could not imagine the kind of enthusiasm and passion he had for both education and teaching. I've always found that teaching is not a very easy line. I mean, you can learn a lot of things, but I'll be quite surprised if I can even pass on a part of it to any of the students. But that is why I think teaching requires a tremendous amount of not only passion, but also compassion, because there are a lot of students who need compassion more than the passion to teach. And I think he had both of them in immense quantities. When I met him, I was quite taken aback that the man had so much of bubbling enthusiasm, being in the line of teaching. And it was to the extent that it was infectious. I mean, whenever you saw him, whatever maybe.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, Mr. Pinto, sir. I would request now Mr. Arun Sharma, Executive Chairman for the Indian Register of Shipping, to kindly give his tribute. Mr. Arun Sharma, sir.
Thank you, Captain Basin. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you, sir.
Thank you very much. Indeed, I think today is a extremely solemn occasion. A couple of days back, when we heard about the passing away of dear Captain Subramaniam, it was indeed a very saddening moment for not only me, but all of us at the Indian Register of Shipping. My association or my meeting Captain Subramaniam goes back when he was principal of the LBS college. And meeting him in those days, I could not imagine the kind of enthusiasm and passion he had for both education and teaching. I've always found that teaching is not a very easy line. I mean, you can learn a lot of things, but I'll be quite surprised if I can even pass on a part of it to any of the students. But that is why I think teaching requires a tremendous amount of not only passion, but also compassion, because there are a lot of students who need compassion more than the passion to teach. And I think he had both of them in immense quantities. When I met him, I was quite taken aback that the man had so much of bubbling enthusiasm, being in the line of teaching, and it was to the extent that it was infectious. I mean, whenever you saw him, whatever may be the situation, there was never a dull moment in those few, maybe half an hour you were with him. And I think that was a very, very admirable quality. And I could see that being reverberated by his dear family today evening, that each of them is so not only fond of him, but so grateful of having been a part of the family he belonged to, from Captain Vanchiswar downwards. And I think that's a beautiful moment for the family and all of us who probably would not know so much of the inner side of Hari Subramaniam, And I think that has been a very, very enlightening experience. The fact remains that he mostly, I mean, being into the field of education and teaching, and I come it very rarely. I mean, in the last couple of years, I think if I recall, meetings were generally over the CMMI dinners, which are the venues are absolutely great. And there I used to always find some time that we could be together, albeit with there were a lot of takers for his presence. And I found that he was not only immensely knowledgeable, but always ready to sort of impart whatever he knew in any field. And in fact, the last time we met, he talked about. He said that I'm very happy to see that the Indian Register is coming into auditing of the maritime institutes, and I think there couldn't be anybody better than you to the Indian Register to look at this aspect of maritime training. And the other thing which I really found about him, that he was a great lover of the Indian seafarer, and I think he always somebody who went, he had dedicated to the seafarer, amazing. But I wish that this kind of the passion could be for merchant navy, could be picked up by a couple of other people, and which would make the seafaring profession even greater than what it is today. You see, whenever I met him, I noticed two things about him. That besides education, he was extremely fond of everything Indian. And I think that is where I realized when he told me, he said that don't forget that Indian Register of Shipping is a Indian classification society. And I think this is a society which has been created by the hard work of a number of people. And this should be taken to a different league where actually the examples you be behind you. And he said, I wish you a lot of luck. And it's a hard work, but it's a task which is absolutely within the reach of Indian Register of Shipping. I think I would always remember gratitude at how a man could, which I found was a very rare commodity in most of us. I think with that, while I began with that, we
it's not in a,
we were extremely saddened we were extremely saddened to learn about mice, that we must celebrate his life, and I'm sure that he will continue to live through through the memories he has left behind, and to a very large extent through the very authoritative books he has written on maritime education. And I think he will continue to be remembered for times to come. I think with that, I would like to once again convey my best wishes and my heartfelt condolences to the family. And thank you for inviting me on today's occasion. Thank you, Captain Prasad, and back to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your kind words. I now invite Auntie Ji, Mrs. Rewari. Ma'am, you are there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear.
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, ma'am.
Okay. Very, very difficult for me to express anything and join, because Subi, as we always called him, was like a son to us. We attended his wedding, and thereafter for years, our families were interwoven, as Hari said, that they were part of our daily lives, and no event was complete without their presence. If I think of Subi, what I admired most was that he had a wonderful mix of traditional values and also of modern outlook. It's very difficult for people to create that kind of mix. He could always blend together and manage opposites in all areas of his life, be it relationship, be it family people or people in the professional area, young, old, children, any nationality, high professionals or absolute baseline workers. He could just manage all relationships so well and connect with them and create bond with them. So it's really something which I watched right through his life. He succeeding and doing it very well. I also remember many animated discussions which he had with my husband, and his sense of humor was always there. He had the courage to disagree and also express his point of view or his opinion openly and freely. And very often I can visualize him even now saying, either you convince me or get convinced. There's no other way. And thereafter, any decision which was taken and any job which was given to him, one could be rest assured that it not only would it be done on time, but also would be done perfectly. His time management was exceptional. He would get into minute details and not only work very quickly, but also in a very organized manner. Any situation, any problem, any problems, he had the ability to think very clearly and find some kind of solution. He was always extremely good troubleshooter in all situations. And I can see now that Hari and Uma also are developing that. Any new idea or project which he had, he was eager and restless to get started, and endless energy he had, endless speed, fast speed with which he wanted to complete things and do them well. Whenever I watched him getting on with something new idea, new, restless to convert ideas into reality. And he reminded me, his body language and his words and his language, kind of at times feel that he was like a small child with a new toy. Same kind of excitement he showed in working situation and in personal life. His departure is a loss not only to industry or his family, but also to all his students, past, present, who were his extended family. I personally feel that I'll feel his presence even when he is not there, because his personality was so full of life and energy that people like him don't ever go anywhere. They are with you always. But I pray to God to give us all courage, and particularly to his family during this time, to bear the loss and pray for him. Thank you.
Thank you, Auntie ji. Thank you very much. Very touching words. You called him like a son to you. Attended his wedding. Takes us back to a very, very old era. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next person is Captain J.C. Anand. Captain J.C. Anand has sent me, actually, he spoke to me and gave me the write-up. So I'm going to read out. Before I read out, I must say, he was truly in shock. 3-4 times he called me and said, Basi, you must write this, you must write that. I will just read out. Very sad and shocked for me to know about Captain Subramaniam passing away. I remember him as a very young and energetic person meeting me while writing his books. I want you to know that I wrote foreword for his very first book, and he had always spoken to me for all other books and theses that he wrote while he was teaching or while he was doing his extra masters. For me, he was a young lad. His face still remained the same to me, and it will always remain the same to me. I don't want to talk much about his contribution because it is seen by the whole world, his contribution to the maritime training. It is for all to see. Apart from that, a very jovial person who always made people lively around him. He energized the atmosphere wherever he went. I can go on and say so many things about him. In short, he made his family and the whole India proud. A very big loss for everyone. My condolences to his family, Captain J.C. Anand. Thank you. The next person is Captain T.K Joseph. He has sent us a video clip. Could I request Mr. Buddhi and Captain T.K Joseph, his daughter Shalini, they made a video clip and we'll show you.
Friends, the untimely passing away of Captain Subramaniam has come as a deep shock to all of us. So it is with great sadness that I speak today. I first met Captain Subramaniam as my student. Even then, I picked him out to be a youngster of great intellect. Later, he joined the faculty of the college, and we became colleagues and we became friends. I had the privilege of mentoring him in the art and science of imparting knowledge. He was a quick learner and soon developed his own style of teaching. I know the many hundreds of students who have sat through his lectures will agree that he was very good at it. After classes, he was always one with the students. I can still see him race up 5 flights of stairs with the students to see who would reach the top first. We will all miss that infectious laughter of his. His family was very important to Captain Subramaniam. Prema, his wife, was his right hand in everything he did. And even a mention of the children, Uma or Hari, always brought a gleam to his eyes. So let this not be a day of mourning for Captain Subramaniam. Rather, let it be a day of celebration. A celebration of his life, his achievements, and the innumerable contributions he has made to the marine fraternity. My wife and I send our deepest condolences to the family. May his soul rest in peace.
Thank you. Thank you. I will just like to invite now Captain P.S Barve, sir. Captain Barve, sir, you are there? Captain Barve, sir?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you all for being here today. It's the day that I would not have liked to have happened at all. I remember Captain Subramaniam for a very long time. He used to come to the shipping's office for examinations in those days. We used to sit together to correct papers, and we used to have a lot of jokes on what people had written in their papers. They were harmless jokes, mind you, but he was jovial to that extent. Memory that I have, which is very important, is when the question of starting Chanakya came in, people were wondering how to start that institution. We had the Rajendra at that time, and the DG was wondering as to who will do the work of refitting the Chanakya. Chanakya buildings were ready, but there was nothing inside it. And then after that, they gave the work to Captain Subramaniam, who was the Captain Subramaniam of the Rajendra at that time. And literally within 7 days, we had the Chanakya ready for taking on cadets. That was the way he worked. I don't think I'll add anything more than what people have already said about him. My condolences to the family.
Again, for the benefit of everything.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Over to you, Vasin.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I would now request Captain S.S Naphade, sir, to kindly speak and give his tribute. Captain Naphade, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Captain Zah, Captain Pradhan, Captain Basin, family of Captain Subramaniam, ladies and gentlemen, we have gathered for the celebration of life, for the celebration of a friend of mine of last 58 years. His spirit will live on in my heart till the cows come home. If I may, if I have to repeat about what other speakers have said, I'll be wasting your time. I have already suggested to the master of the company of Master Mariners to try and constitute a committee and set up a bust in the campus of Nautical and Engineering College of Captain Subramaniam. Captain Subramaniam, to me, he was always Subi. We were of the same age. He was just about 3 or 4 months senior to me. And I always addressed him as Subi. And he had adapted my simple Marathi name to a British version of Naf. Having said that, Captain Subramaniam, perhaps all of you may not know that he passed out of Lovedale in the Coorg district. He was what I call a blue-blooded nautical, having passed out of the Dufferin, having sailed with the Sindhyas, and then of course joined the elite institute of LBS, and his teaching career followed. Whereas I came from somewhat humble origins of a tramping shipping company of Great Eastern, carrying coal and iron ore and whatnot. But he always treated me with great mark of affection and equality, and being the colleagues for a long time in the government, we faced many situations where he proved himself to be a very trustworthy and cooperative colleague, and we had our own challenges to face. We overcame them, and a lot more can be said about him. All that I will say, that I have lost a very sincere friend from the bottom of my heart, and my sincere condolences to the entire family. My suggestion of setting up a bust on the grounds or in the building of LBS College may please be taken up. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, Captain Update, sir. Surely, and on behalf of CMI, Captain Jaya and other wardens, we will assure you that it will be taken up and will be done. A very noble thought, sir. Thank you. Now I request Captain M.M Saggi, sir. Captain Saggi, sir, you are there?
Yes, can you hear me?
Sir, we can hear you and see you. Thank you so much.
It's very difficult to speak on this occasion. We are all trying to come to terms with the loss of Captain Subramaniam. My association with Captain Subramaniam goes back to 1974, when I joined the LBS College in the class of second mates. And we were blessed to have Captain Subramaniam as one of our teachers. Then I was fortunate to be guided by him in 1980 when I was doing my master's examination. Many of us would have struggled if not for his hand-holding, his guidance, his support throughout our career. There's so many stories, so many anecdotes associated with Captain Subramaniam. I remember vividly, in meeting so many students, so many delegates from Africa, and they were very keen to visit India. So I was wondering that, okay, India is a good destination for tourists. But I asked them, I said, what is that which you feel that you would like to visit India for? And they responded in one voice, as we want to meet Captain Subramaniam. They'd all been brought up on Captain Subramaniam's book. Not only Africa was not the only exception. There were people in Sri Lanka, people in Singapore, Malaysia, all over the world. He is known for his books. I also remember the kind of personality he was by the kind of responsibilities he agreed to take. I remember there was one of the obligation under the STCW is to have a database of Indian seafarers and the verification of the certificates. So when Mr. Pinto, then DG Shipping, he posed this question to us that how do we do that? We were very tight in Director of Shipping. We didn't have the resources, we didn't have the place, we didn't have the people. And Captain Subramaniam raised his hand. He says, I will do it. And not only he did it with such style, with such commitment. And even till this date, we rely on the infrastructure for Indian National Database of Seafarers, what he created. I feel so proud of him. Then after my superannuation, I was fortunate to work with Narottam Morarji Institute of Shipping as the director for a number of years. We were okay in most of the subject, but one subject we were really struggling was the geography of sea transportation. None of the teachers could put it across to the students who were landlubbers, not many of them seafarers. that how a ship calls different ports, which are the ports, which are the bunkering ports, and which are the shipping routes, which are the ocean currents. And it is important for anybody who is dealing with shipping to know these basics of shipping geography. And I was feeling so helpless, and I was wondering how to overcome this challenge, how to reach out to the students. And then I thought of Captain Subramaniam. I reached out to his home, and he was so welcoming, along with Mrs. Subramaniam. And when I explained to him the difficulty, the kind of helpless situation I was in, the Narottam Baraji was in, and I pleaded for help, and he immediately agreed. And he says, yes, no issue. Not only he did an excellent job of it, he created an audio visuals of each chapter of Geography of Sea Transportation and made it so simple, just like his books, that anybody who just had to go through those videos and his voice guided tour of the education and the Geography of Sea Transport. He says, Captain Saggi, I may or may not be around, but these videos have made me quite indispensable. And true enough, because of his personal family compulsions, he couldn't continue. But the people who came after him to teach this subject, they heavily relied on these videos which were developed by Captain Subramaniam at his home. I use this occasion to convey my condolences. It's very difficult to accept a loss of a towering personality like Captain Subramaniam. Neera joins me, my Mrs. Saggi joins me in also conveying condolences to Mrs. Subramaniam, Hari, Oma, and all their family members. And not only to the family members, it's a loss to the whole community. All of us, we are virtually one with the family in their time of grief. And we will remember this great personality through his books, through his humor, through his various accomplishments. I thank you once again to give me this opportunity to remember this great soul. Thank you, Captain Naseem.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your kind words, sir. I now request Captain Ashok Mahapatra. Captain Mahapatra, sir, you are there. Captain Ashok Mahapatra, sir.
Can you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. We can hear you, sir. We
Okay.
cannot see you, but we can hear you.
Yeah, that's right from the beginning. I've been having that problem, but that doesn't matter. I mean, since we are celebrating Captain Subramaniam's life, I think we should not be seeing. We should be seeing him rather than us trying to be on the picture. Everybody has talked about Captain Subramaniam. I will get you to a couple of instances. One where at the first stage of my career to a later stage of my career. The first stage of my career was when I had finished my time for second mates and I went in to the LBS college to join for second mates. And at that time, LBS college had very limited seats. They didn't have anybody and everybody could not join in. So and a lot of direct entry cadets had come in and it was difficult for them to accommodate. So they had, for direct entry, Rajendra cadets were given the privilege of joining in straight, but we as direct entry cadets had to undergo what is called a entrance examination in the LBS college. I appeared, I cleared, then I went into a class, and then as we had the usual Captain Subramaniam's class, just as he was leaving, he called out my name and called me aside. He says, okay, son, when are you appearing for your exams? He said, sir, I've just joined. He says, you are going to appear next month. And day after tomorrow is the form filling time. Go and put there. He said, and that those days Captain Prasad used to do the, sea time checking and all that. And all of us are aware that we were a little petrified of Captain Prasad. So when we went there, Captain Prasad was saying, and then he saw my timings, and when I left the ship, and it was barely barely a month before I'm applying for the. Says, are you prepared? Then I told him, I said, sir, Captain Subramaniam told me that I should appear this month. He says, tell Captain Subramaniam that if his assessment is wrong, then I will get extra sea time. I said, so be it. And it so happened that I did pass in my first attempt, but that's another story. Now that is the kind even at a cadet's level, he could engage. And then we come to a particular thing where Captain Naphade will remember we had a particular incident where literally overnight we had to produce question papers. And we had to give it for a particular examination. He said, no problems, in his usual style. He comes across, and by 10 o'clock at night, we had the papers. Next morning, we faxed it to the various centers, and that was it. So, I've never heard Captain Subramaniam say, no, cannot be done. It had to be done, it had to be done. Which way? It's imitated. So that is the kind of towering personality that Captain Subramaniam was. I've had the pleasure and the honor of working with him right from junior cadet through my testing to the time when even though I wouldn't consider myself as his colleague, but as his junior, but he considered me the moment I reached DG Shipping, he considered me as his colleague. So today, my tribute to him, and I hope the family takes this tribute. We are celebrating his life. We are not in grief, and my salutations to him and to the family. Cherish his dreams and live life king size as Captain Subramaniam always lived. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. May I request now Captain P. Jayakumar. Captain Jayakumar, sir, are you there?
Yes, Captain Basim, I am there.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
It is indeed an honor for me to have this opportunity to say a few words about one of our revered gurus. Captain Subramaniam was an inspiration to all of us. He, along with Captain Joseph, Captain Rewari, and Captain Kumar, have laid the foundation for at least my generation and onwards of seafarers. We have all been students of his. In his passing, we have lost not only a brilliant mind, a great teacher, a mentor, and a true leader. I have had several interactions with him from the time of being a student till a few days back when we had the last CMMI get together. And as everyone before me has said, he was truly amazing as far as the motivation that he would bring in every aspect that he would touch. It was always with a lot of energy. His passing is not just a loss to the maritime industry, but it is a loss to the entire nation. I'm sure his memory will continue to be with us, and his books will continue to inspire all the future generation of seafarers. I'd like to convey our personal condolences to the entire family and the relatives. Thank you all once again.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your kind words, sir. May I know request Captain Homi Treasurewala. Captain Homi, sir, you are there?
Yes. Yes. Can you see me? Yeah.
Yes, sir. We can hear you. Captain Homi Treasurewala will be speaking on behalf of all his batchmates. I must thank him personally also, he and his other batchmate, Captain Dipin, for sharing the various photographs and memories. So the Hari could make the presentation.
Thank you, Captain Basin. Thank you, Captain Hari, for inviting me to speak. All the speakers before me, and indeed over the last 10 days, have waxed eloquently and paid handsome tributes to a wonderful human being and a great soul, deservedly so. Speaking on behalf of my batchmates, we are indeed much poorer for our loss. To us, he was a great friend. As many of you are aware, the bond between batchmates is almost as strong as a family bond, unbreakable. My mind rushes back in time, 62 years back to 1958, when we joined the Dufferin. Subbu and I, we always called him Subbu, not Subra or Subi, as I've recently come to know. We were the smallest and youngest in our batch. He was born in September 42, and I was born a few days later in October. The joining age was 15 and a half, and we just made the grade. We were less than 5 feet tall when we joined. In boxing class on the Dufferin, we were graded as per our weight. One of us was mosquito weight, and the other was fly weight. Without a doubt, he was brighter and smarter than most, and was deservedly the runner-up for the President's Gold Medal. Fast forward to recent times. He and his wife Prema were regulars for all our BGTs, our annual batchmate get-togethers. Subbu always regaled us with his jokes and stories, numerously told. He always had the gift of the gab. Our last BGT was earlier this year in Wayanad, when we last met. He was in high spirits, jolly and happy as always. Over the last 3 months, we batchmates have been regularly meeting on Zoom. I was surprised when he missed the last one, the one in June, after confirming that he would join. None of us guessed he may have been unwell, and we would never have the good fortune to see or speak to him again. On behalf of all my batchmates and on behalf of my family and myself and my wife Manek, may he rest in eternal peace. Good night, Subbu, till we meet again.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your kind words. Before I move on, I just want to say, we have numerous calls and numerous people who wanted to speak. And it was not an easy thing to say no. So instead of naming the people, I'm just going to name some of the associations, Captain Hari and the family and the audience. All chapters of CMI in India and Dubai, the Nautical Institute, London, various Nautical Institute branches in India, Institute of Marine Engineers, Drasia Global, Drasia Mumbai, MASA, FOSMA, INSA, ICSA, the unions, MUI, NUSI, Mariners Association across India, Merchant Navy Officers Associations, Synergistic Solutions. Some of the writers who even called me last night, who have worked with him, and so many of them, all have sent their respect and tribute. The list goes on. Various teachers, various of his colleagues, and all institutes across India have called and sent their respect to Subramaniam. I just want to announce this. I will now hand over to Mr. Buddhi. The family has made a presentation. And after the presentation, there will be a 2-minute silence for our beloved Captain Subramaniam. Thank you. Thank you. I request all to observe 2-minute silence to pay respect to our beloved Captain Subramaniam, sir. 2-minute silence, please. Thank you very much. I request Captain Hari. Captain Hari, you are there?
Yes, Captain Basin, I'm here.
Thank you. I just give the last words from you. Thank you.
I can barely speak now. I'm so touched. That's all I'll say. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. And you'll have really, I mean, I don't know what to say. Just say thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Hari.
Thank you. Thank you, Captain Jha, sir. Thank you, Captain Hari. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, all the esteemed, great personality.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.